I'm going to try.
That's what I'm worried about. You're going to be clean and talk about how my butthole is to be so clean for you.
Yeah. Just so you know, we're live.
Yeah, we're live.
And we are live, and it is episode 161, and I'm Ty Backer with Behind the Toolbelt.
Behind the Toolbelt is sponsored by Lead Scout. Find out more at Lead Scout.
TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutter, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutter, solar. TC Backer.
Behind the Toolbelt is sponsored by Lead Scout. Find out more at leadscoutapp.com.
TC Backer.
And we are back. Now, Chris, would you like to finish that conversation prior to the intro, or should we just introduce you guys?
Absolutely not.
Okay. You don't want to go there? Or your kids watching now?
I'll go there.
I don't think anyone wants to hear that.
I actually don't want to hear that.
Okay. We'll talk about it off camera. Anyhow, we have two special guests tonight. Chris, you have become my little co-host here, and we've been traveling around the country for weeks on end. It feels like, and I don't even remember where we are today, but we are here, wherever it is. And I'm with my good friend, Stephen Spence with Project Map It.
You got it.
Out of Maryland.
Yep.
We're out in Maryland.
I live just north of Annapolis.
So that's our backyard pretty much.
2-hour drive here.
We probably drive by your home every day.
Probably.
Yep. And we have Chris Hofstra with Lead Scout. What's happening, dudes?
What's up?
What's up, everybody? Super pumped to have Stephen on.
Right on. Me too.
Chris and I go back. We've been pretty good friends for years now, and you're looking way too good with your smooth haircut and all that grease and gel in there and the glasses. You're ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, these are for you. This is out of respect for you. I mean, you're the one with the style.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I like it. Stephen Specht.
Yeah, right.
Spectacle Stephen.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, there we go.
I can't see without him.
Well, it's funny, actually, Ty. I mean, you say we go back a long time. The interesting thing is I feel like we were friends by association for so long, and then it was like, I don't know, a few shows ago, you basically you pulled me aside, or we bumped into each other. You're like, dude, we need to like hang out and just collaborate more. And ever since then, it's been like we have been friends for 2 years, but it's kind of only been recently. So it's good to finally be just doing life with you and doing I should say industry. It's kind of like we're doing industry, right? We're doing industry together. So it's good to be doing this with you, Stephen.
Thank you. Likewise, my friend. Likewise.
Yeah,
and I'll see you at SRC in a few days. Everybody, the whole set. I'm excited.
Yes, it is exciting. And that's what's cool about social media today, because a lot of people we run into at these shows and stuff, it's like, I feel like I've known them forever. You know what I mean? It's like that social media presence. And I call it a social media reputation.
Yeah.
That you have to have today, like, especially in business, right? You got to create this social media presence, this reputation for most businesses, right?
Sure.
If they're trying to stay ahead of the curve and get their face out there. And the other thing it allows people to know is that, not what is Project Map It, but who is Project Map It. That's what's cool about our podcast. We bring you guys out here and let everybody know who you are, who Chris Hofstra is with Lead Scout, Joe Salowitz, and whoever else we've brought on the show. And that's what's cool about social media. It brings it all together. And I really feel like when Facebook was created, right? Let's go back to the days. And I think it was just more like it was a social media platform for college students to be able to communicate with each other. Right. I think that's,
I guess so.
I think that's
when I was in college, there was no Facebook.
Yeah. Me neither.
There was dial-up internet just in my senior year.
Right. I get it. And then what the hell?
Chris maybe easily probably had,
MySpace. MySpace was the thing.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Fair enough.
I couldn't remember what
I thought it was like TikTok when you were in college, Chris. I mean, you look so damn fun with the haircut.
He does. Look at that. It's like he's got the just for men. Yeah, a little bit darker. You needed a little highlight though.
Yeah.
Kind of give you that
I think a skunky gray line, right?
Yeah.
Right down the middle. That would look like SRC.
I can experiment.
Yeah.
I'm all for experimenting.
Speaking of experimenting, would you like to share the elevator story? I'm just kidding.
No, you already asked that, and that has been shut down.
Well,
officially.
Social media, Ty, I will tell you, how's Fearless 44 going for you, man? You've been doing some good stuff. I've been watching it. Your daily videos with your cigarettes and all that stuff. Yes. How's that going?
It's going good. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
I had to reboot.
Did you?
A little bit. Yeah, I had to steer course. I had to change up the process a little bit.
Yep.
And I'm doing better. I feel like I'm being more intentional.
Good.
About it. Like I just felt like I was cutting corners, and it wasn't even necessarily about the cigarettes. Okay. Yes, I kind of felt like that day 21 was like going to be the end of it all, but there has been progress.
Good.
You know what I mean? And as far as like working out, reviewing my Fulfillment 50, and what's cool about reviewing the Fulfillment 50 is like each day I've been adding to it and getting more granular, and just in case you don't know what the Fulfillment 50 is, basically it's 10 blessings, 10,
okay,
right? And then you have 10 reasons, and then you have 10 targets, and then you have 10 excuses, 10 consequences, right?
Okay.
So not to go through all of these, but like my 10 blessings, right? So like at first I just wrote down, like, I'm grateful for a higher power in my life today.
Yep.
And that's kind of just to hurry up and get it done kind of thing. Well, that's me feeling like I'm cutting corners. So each day I review that and I added more to it, like the ability to see how he's been working in my life this entire time.
Nice.
When I felt like I was by myself, it was like, I look back and it's like, no, I wasn't by myself. He was actually carrying me. Right. So I got a little more granular on that. It's like, he's always looked out for me.
Yep.
Even though if it was something that I didn't think should have went my way, it went the way that it was supposed to go. So each day that I look at this, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Like I'm adding to each line that I put in here, like the reasons, like, why do I do what I do? And it's like, I've been given another chance. Right. So I just wrote that in there. And then as I review this every day, I added, I do not want to take this for granted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm kind of, I'm more intentional about it. And I feel like I'm getting way more out of it because Vic and I, and a couple of us, we did 2 of these back to back last year, dude. And I breezed through it like nothing, but this time around, it just seems like maybe I'm trying to step it up. Like
you did 2 Fearless 40s.
Yeah, we did Fearless 88. Straight up.
I thought that's what it was. I was a math teacher, so I thought I could count the number of days. That's a lot.
I know.
Good for you.
It was
and
a lot.
Vic. Good job, Vic.
Yeah, Vic tore it up, and Jana, my wife, she did it like a trooper. Like, and it was great because doing it with her, we're holding each other accountable. Like I'm seeing her lose weight and eat healthy, and it's like, that kind of motivates me. And it's just like quitting smoking. Like if she smoked, it'd have been twice as hard. And I'm still quitting. I had to change the process a little more. I mean, Christ, I think when you go to the doctor and you get prescribed Chantix, like I think they give you 90 days.
Yeah.
Or however long to try to wean down off the cigs. But again, I can do it. I've overcome a lot of craziness in my life. So I feel pretty confident that I'll be able to wean myself off of it.
So 2 things, Chris. One thing that you didn't know that I learned about Ty and I is we both got married to our significant others in the Dominican Republic. He was,
oh wow,
yeah. I was La Romana, the east side, so that was pretty cool. And there was another thing, but like you said, like before the show, Ty had a couple things that he had to remember and he kept forgetting. I forgot my second thing already. So there we go.
It'll come to you.
It'll come to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Stephen, what's the most challenging thing you've ever had to quit?
You know, I'm a lifelong learner. So drinking for me, I've never quit fully, but I've taken a lot less opportunities to want to drink. It's not an important aspect of my life anymore. I'm almost 49. Well, I always say that. I always round up. I'm 48 and a half, whatever. I'm 6 months away from being 49.
You're basically 40, dude.
I'm basically 80. I'm already like 80 years old. So just more important things in my life. My wife and I, we pride ourselves on being pretty reflective and lifelong learners. I think that's an important, skill to have in life as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a father, as a husband, as a friend. So, yeah, I mean, again, didn't quit drinking, but drink less. And that was because of some things in my life that I did that I wasn't proud of while I was drinking. I recently took Facebook and stuff off my phone, which has been really helpful. It's back on now because of work, right? Because of all the videos that I see you doing. I'm trying to do videos. Chris, you and I talk about doing videos all the time. I see Joe up on videos all the time. He drives me crazy. I'm really jealous. I just feel like I don't have the time to constantly do it. I know I need to make time. But so I don't look at social media much anymore except for work. And that's it. Like, I don't remember the last time, I think it was October, that I posted anything on Facebook. And honestly, around 5 or 6 or 7, depending on the night, my phone goes in my office and I have, how they have on text messaging, you can do like a driver focus thing and put a message out there.
Yeah.
I have a message that says, I'm spending time with my family. I hope you understand. I'll get back to you first thing in the morning. So if someone texts later, they get that message. And it's funny. I had one of my contractors in Pasadena, Maryland, text me the next day because she got one of those messages. She texted me, 9:00 at night. She called me the next day. She goes, I love that. How did you do that? Because I need to do it too, because I need to have that work-life balance. And honestly, Chris, to answer your question, it wasn't difficult to get rid of like the phone at night and stuff like that. But in doing so, my relationship with my wife is so much better. My relationship with my kids are better. So
no, I love that. That's good.
It's kind of
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, I do too. And that's probably something I should do. And again, that goes back to being intentional, right?
Yeah,
like that time, even though it might be an hour and a half before you guys go to bed, but it's that time you set aside for your family to be intentional.
Correct.
And that's going to that next level stuff. So you're refreshed in the morning too, instead of working all hours a night and stuff like that. And I think once you're in business for a while, you come to realize like, you're really not getting anything completed. Right. You're just sitting there spinning out. I call it like spun out.
Yes.
Right. Like I'm spun out.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I'm just sitting here spinning out. And it's sometimes best just to kind of walk away from it, shut it off, be intentional with your family, rejuvenate yourself, and give them the time that they deserve.
It also makes you intentional when you plan out your day, right? Like I need to be more efficient with my work time so that I can be in that present moment. We deal with realtors in my product as well. We don't have a ton of realtors. The contracting world is really our space, but I watch the video or I'll give a shout out to my boy, but he said, whatever you're doing, be intentional, right? Yeah. If you're with your family, be intentional, be like, that is your focus. If you're at work, that's your focus. If you are with your kids at a sporting event, I'm my son's lacrosse coach, I'm going to be intentional. So just whatever you're doing in life is intentional. For me, I just needed to find the work-life balance a little bit better. Yeah. And I think I have.
Yeah.
Stephen, have you always been an early riser? You mentioned to me the other day that you start like 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Has that been part of that change or has that always been like that?
No, I've always been an early riser. I don't need a lot of sleep. The only difference is I will go to bed earlier now. Like I'm sometimes in bed at 7:30, to be totally honest with you. Usually it's like between 8 and 9:30. But I don't need a ton of sleep. I think they say when you get older, you get less sleep or you don't need sleep. I don't know. But regardless, I'm up at 4 or 5 and I'll put in about 2 to 3 hours of work before my family is up. And then when my family's up, I make breakfast and lunch. There's my intentional hour from 7 to 8 a.m. I'm making lunch and breakfast for my kids and my wife. 8 to 9, I work out, usually do a little meditation for my mental health, which I need. And then I'm back to work at 9, grinding it.
Right on. That's good. That's
Love
good
that.
that you can do that, because I know a lot of people don't have, I don't even want to call it a luxury, right? Like
Yeah.
at this point in time, you're just doing it for your physical and mental health.
Correct.
Right? For years and years and years and years of just mentally abusing yourself.
Yep.
Right? Because that's what I call it, or mentally masturbating. You know what I mean?
Sorry.
Of just like, you need that outlet, right? And a lot of people can't do that or step away from it,
Right.
because you become so unproductive, like that. I don't even think we realize it. Like, we'll work 12 hours, but if you really look back at, like, did I really work 12 hours, or was I efficient or productive for really like 4 or 6 of those
Yeah, that's fair.
12 hours?
Yep.
Right. And it's true. It's
is.
the God's honest truth. And it's like, I watch my team up here kill themselves, and they're getting in like 12 hours a day. And it's like, how productive are they really in a 12-hour day? So we encourage them, like a couple of them go outside to go for a walk. They order lunch and breakfast. It seems like, what's all those, Grubhub, and is banging on the door like 5 times a day up there. So it's not like they're continuously working and it's a sweatshop or anything like that. Our culture is pretty wild, pretty cool, pretty laid back. Not that there isn't a little bit of bickering here and there, but I think everyone has become really close, and that helps with the culture there too as well. But as entrepreneurs carrying that weight of the world, right? Like, we are our backup plan.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, for somebody that works with us, like, we're their backup plan.
Right.
So we carry that. So our stress load is a little, at least for me, I carry stress, a lot of stress, because I take it, I bring it on myself, obviously, but exercising, hanging out with your family, cooking breakfast, that breaks that up. Like,
It does.
you're not thinking about it anymore. You may be, but you're not.
So I work remotely, right? Like, we're a software company, so we're not a huge company yet. This is going to be a great year for us. We're really excited about 2023. But yeah, my stress, Ty, goes right here. That's one of my stress. It just goes all right there. And sometimes, Chris, to your point, sometimes I used to wake up at 3 or 2:30 and I couldn't go back to sleep, because when I wake up, the wheels are turning, right? You're thinking about work. You're thinking about that customer that was upset, or that customer that you need to land the next day, or whatever. The hamster wheel is always going on in my head. And so sometimes I couldn't go back to sleep. And so I would just immerse myself in work at 2:30. But because I have this routine in the morning, I am less stressed. I do find myself more efficient. So I do find myself not having to get up thinking about work all the time.
And that's good. That's something I've actually tried to practice, is not waking up and thinking about work.
Correct.
I try to think about, like, I thank God. Not by no means am I a Bible bumper, but again, I'm on like this intentional path right now that I'm on. So I'm trying to be real intentional with what it is I'm doing on like a minute by hour basis here lately. And one of the things that I started to work on is to thank God before my feet even hit the floor, and just thank him for allowing me to hit my feet on the floor and breathe another sober breath. Right.
Yeah.
And then, like, from there, it's just routine. I don't even have to think anymore. It's like, I go out, the dogs need to go out. I let the dogs
Just
out.
becomes natural.
Yeah. At that point in time. And I got a routine that I've done for the longest time. I get up a little bit earlier. I used to before everybody, but Jana has become the early bird.
riser,
Yep. Which is good, because she gets it. She gets things out of the way, or her daily meditations and prayer and all that stuff like that. And that's real big for us, because we have to remain vigilant, constant contact with our higher power, which we choose to call God. And again, I don't know why I keep talking about this, but hopefully it doesn't deter anybody from watching this thing. But for me, it's been, I know that I haven't done this.
Yeah.
Maybe with his guidance and the strength and the courage he's given me that I've asked for.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I need something in my life and spirituality, because I am not religious. I've been to church 2, maybe 3 times, and I was kind of manipulated into going, and didn't realize I was actually going to church.
Right.
And then found out it was like a sermon 10 minutes, half hour into. I was like, thanks, guys.
Yeah. Right.
But anyhow,
But you are intentional.
Yes.
And I think that's an important message for anybody that's watching this, or just if you're an entrepreneur, a worker, whatever, just whatever you're doing in that moment, embrace that moment.
Yeah.
And be a part of it. Be immersed into it.
Yeah.
That's
So I recently read something about goal setting, right? So because I felt like I failed the whole Fearless 44 thing, and wasn't being real intentional about it. So I was doing, some reading and stuff, and that's part of my daily 8 with the Fearless 44, and it talks about being specific, being accountable, and being intentional about it. And it says, if I want to lose weight, by me just saying it's not setting the goal, right? Like I have to identify the amount of weight that I want to lose. I have to write it down, right?
Yeah.
Give it a timeline. Like I want to lose XYZ pounds by February 25th, right? Like when will I achieve it? Then create a target that you want to hit, make it clear. The reason why I might not hit my goal is because I wasn't intentional and clear about it. Accountability. Ask for someone, tell someone, share your goal with somebody so they can hold you accountable. But not only that, they can support you.
So shout out to my mastermind group. I meet every Friday morning at 8 a.m. And we talk. It's 5 of us, all entrepreneurs that want to be successful in life, and we kind of push each other. We do a vision board. Anybody hear about a vision board?
Oh yeah.
Sounds corny. It is a little corny, but you know what? It's on your wall. So my vision board is made. You just said it. My goal is to lose weight as well. I won't say this online, but Ty and I were just talking about the fact that we wanted to lose some weight, and we're both medium pluses. He said, "What size shirt are you?" I said, "I'm not a large. I'm not a medium. I'm like that medium plus." Oh, I did just say that online, didn't I?
Yeah.
I just said that to the world.
Yeah, we're live.
I'm kidding. I knew that. But the point being is goals being measurable, right? Attainable, achievable. So mine is by March 1st, I'll be 165 pounds, and I will maintain that weight throughout the rest of the year. And I see that vision board in my office every time I walk in.
Very good.
So, and having an accountability partner is very important. You just said Jana is holding you accountable for certain things. My wife definitely holds me accountable for things.
Right.
I tend to be hard on myself. I like, I don't know, a lot of negative self-talk at times, and my wife calls me out on it. And it's one of my goals, talk positive about myself. So
of course. And they support you too, not just the accountability part of it, but to say, hey, you're doing a great job. I noticed you look good in that shirt today, or whatever. Those things that kind of boost your confidence, right?
Yeah.
Because where the lack of confidence comes in is when I don't meet that goal.
Yeah.
I start to self-doubt myself. I start to lose my self-esteem.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's those broken promises to myself is where I start to feel like my confidence starts to deflate.
Do you do goal setting? Do you guys have goals at TC Backer or anything like that?
We're not super intentional about it, but of course we got goals.
Like individual goals. So I'm a small company. You're a big company. Like for me, you just reminded me, Pearl and I were supposed to write our goals, and I did because of my mastermind class. But Pearl, if you're watching this, you owe me goals. They were due by 2 Fridays ago. And I've not been a good boss to talk about those
accountability
goals.
partner.
So I need to be an accountability partner for Perla.
Yeah.
Damn it. I'm just making myself look bad here. No.
You shouldn't have said that online.
It's okay, man. Hey, I'm a transparent person, Chris.
No, you absolutely should. That's what that's behind the tool belt.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's what it's all about.
Yep, absolutely.
But I think we do want to hear about the tool belt, right, Ty? I want to hear about Project Map at Tool Belt. I mean,
Tool
I
Belt.
want to hear more about the shit you got going on at PMI.
Yeah, that's why we brought you here. Selfishly, I want to know all about it for free. I don't want to have to pay you for it. I just want you to tell me all about it.
Well, you do have it. You do have Project Map It. I don't know if you know that yet. We've built a really nice map for you. I'm working with Mike Ippoliti about that. So, and I'll give it to you for free, Mike. You can count me on that.
Okay.
So
no, I'm just
charge him something for it.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me here. I saw you guys at RoofCon, was a little jealous. Ippoliti was saying, Steve, you got to get on there. I'm like, no, I had my own booth by myself. I'm a grinder, so I couldn't get out of my booth, but I saw the big setup and I loved it. And I know you guys are going to SRC. So I drove up here for 2 hours. It took about 2 hours from Annapolis. The whole time, all I did was on my phone, I had YouTube open and just listened to Ryan Shantz and Chris, you and Michael Stearns and all these people. So I got a good feel of the show and I really loved it. So great job to everybody here. Very impressed. So I made it big time, Mom. I made it big time. I've made the big show. I'm good.
Nah, we're still small potatoes. We're just getting started, but thank you.
Yeah, no, I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
I was talking to Vic and I were talking earlier and just how proud he is of the show and how far you guys have come and how it's going to blow up, and it is blowing up, every day it's getting bigger and bigger. And I kind of feel the same way, right, Chris and Ty? Like, I was a special education teacher for 20 years, high school teacher, big lacrosse guy in my community, Maryland. For those that know, it's the hotbed of lacrosse.
Oh yeah.
So I coached high school for 15 years. I've been coaching lacrosse for 25 years. Currently coach my son who's in 8th grade and been coaching his youth team since they were in 1st grade, I think. But yeah, it was funny because the way I came to Project Map It was, well, first of all, it was off of a bad decision I made, and I had to rethink about my life. So just being transparent, because that's how I roll. And then during that transition of like, okay, I've done some stupid things in my life. I need to get on the straight and narrow. My why, Chris and I were talking on the phone. My why is my family, like my 2 kids and my wife. That's my why. I want to support them. I want to raise my children the right way. I wasn't always geared towards, being a good role model. So regardless, as a high school lacrosse coach, I have coached many, many kids throughout the years. I started coaching in 1998 was my first year, but I came across a guy, one of my old lacrosse players that I hadn't seen in 10 years, at a grocery store on this end of the county, and then on the grocery store at this end of the county in the matter of 8 days. And he said, Steve, you need to meet with me and let's talk about Project Map It. It's a new company I've built. So long story short, because I don't want to go into a long story about it, but long story short, after about a month, so teacher, 20 years, knew nothing about the construction industries. About a month in, it just wasn't doing the amount of revenue that the owner thought it would. And he kind of went to his own roofing job. So Project Map It, built by contractors, by contractors. He's a very successful roofing contractor still today, I think. But I was basically left on an island by myself, 20 years of teaching, knowing nothing about the construction world. And now here I am trying to grow a company that I know nothing about in the industry. So I kind of got in, and I'm a grinder. I'm blue collar through and through. I work hard, just like all of you. And little by little we grew, and, we met John Grzinski, who, by the way, he said, say hello. I talked to him today. Cool. So John from USL.
Love me some John G.
Yeah, Johnny G.
What's up, Chief?
Yeah. He definitely, he partnered with us. He wanted to bring Project Map It into their fold. And that really saved our company. I mean, that's what kept us afloat. I went from making 84,000, 89, something like that as a teacher down to, I think my first year Project Map It was 36.5 or something.
Yeah.
So depleted my 401k, but stuck with our today on the frickin' Behind the Toolbelt show. I mean, look how far we've come. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
5 years. So I've been, so February, well, really March 1st will be my 5-year anniversary.
Yeah.
So managing director of Project Map It. For those that don't know what Project Map It is, I'll give you the shortened version, but we're basically an interactive map where any contractor can put all of their past jobs onto the map as a pin. So, you might have 1,000. We have customers with 60 pins. We have customers with 50,000 pins on their map. And the map is interactive. So in your case, right, GF Master Elite, on your map at TC Backer, there's a filter that you can click a button, and maybe at the sales appointment, your salespeople might be able to showcase all the weathered wood roofs you've done in that zip code. Yeah. Right. So interactive map that can put pictures of the jobs you've done, obviously areas that you've served with the pins showing the location of jobs you've done. And then we also have the ability to bring in all your Google and Facebook reviews. So it's a all-in-one interactive portfolio that provides everything that a homeowner is usually looking for: reviews, locations, and photos of your work. Nice.
And so I'm assuming shingle colors and things like that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I did know
Pictures.
Project Map It. So I was talking to Mark Jones today from USLBM, Universal John H. Myers. He said that because you guys, and I'm going to just use the word integrated with them, that they could actually send out all of our addresses to you, which I thought was cool, because if they would take that burden off the contractor, because let's face it, we're all busy, right? And there's not people that have enough admin around to concentrate on getting all those addresses over there. So since you're integrated with USLBM, it would make any size contractor's life so much easier, that every time, shingle delivery went out, a siding delivery went out, a window delivery, whatever, that they took care of that on the back end for you which is what I think is pretty unique about your product, because there's not a lot of products or tools out there that actually do that. Now, granted, like for most CRMs, you could send your material over through it, but for them to work with you and the contractor like that on the back end to send them the addresses, that's pretty slick.
So you nailed it, right? That you guys, contractors in general, are so busy. They don't have time to double data entry. I gotta put that. You mean you gotta tell me I gotta put my customer in my CRM and then go to Project Map It and put them in Project Map It? I just don't have the time, Steve. It doesn't take a lot of time, but look, we're trying to streamline it as easy as possible. So with the relationship with USLBM, which is the parent company of many operating supply companies throughout the US, John H. Myers being one, Universal, Bellevue in New York, they're able to deliver us the orders that your contractors like that you'll make for roofing and siding every Monday. So what my company does is we'll take that spreadsheet and we'll update your map for you.
That's awesome.
And I will say this, we just closed a deal with SRS Distribution as well.
Sweet.
That does the exact same thing.
Cool.
And then we have partnerships, right? Some integrations that really help streamline that process, so it's not double data entry. So to get a pin on a map, for those that use Company Cam, we integrate with Company Cam. It's a slick integration, probably one of our best integrations. So you can be in Company Cam and just select, there might be 100 photos of a job, as we all know, but you can select the 5 photos you want to send to Project Map It. Click, 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 click. Go to tag it. You tag it, GF Timberline HD, Weatheredwood, Barkwood, you name it. And it'll send it right to Project Map It, so you don't have to do it. We have a very good partnership with Certainty Roofing. They provide us any warranty spreadsheets. So if a contractor registers warranties through Certainty, we're able to get that data and upload maps for them. Same thing. We don't partner with GF, but we have a really good connection with GF where we can get that warranty data as well. So we try to find ways to make it super easy.
Streamlined. And I like that, because that was what I was thinking too. Unfortunately, there's going to have to be some work put in by the contractor. To put the pictures, however elaborate that they would want to get with it. But with you being integrated with Company Cam, shit, man, as long as the guys out in the field or the salespeople or whoever, the production side is actually using that tool the way that it's designed, then anyone can really, at night and morning, slam a couple of pictures in there for prospecting homeowners that may want to check it out.
We make the onboarding and the management and upkeep of Project Map It as simple as possible for every contractor. We have tons of strategies. We even offer virtual assistants as well.
Wow.
So as long as people give us access to their CRM and their photos, we'll do it for them for a small fee.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So is it a monthly fee?
We offer monthly and yearly fees. The yearly you save a little bit more. But we have 3 tiers. We have an SEO component that I know you love talking marketing and SEO and stuff. I learned that on the podcast. So we might want to hit that in part of this segment, but we do have an SEO component that'll hopefully get people seen online. We're currently looking to develop another piece of that SEO component as an integration with Google My Business. So we're working on that currently. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll come through in the next few months.
Yeah, I love that. No,
yes, sir.
Yeah, no, that's good. And just so you know, I don't know shit about SEOs. It's just I'm very intrigued.
You just like hearing about it.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I love talking about it.
It really interests me.
Rolls off the tongue.
I know enough to be deadly. I was actually at a meeting tonight, and York Builders Association host York Home and Garden Show here in York. It's probably one of the biggest home shows in the area, other than like Timonium. Timonium's a real big one. But as far as like Lancaster, Harrisburg, and places like that, York host a really nice home show. And they were talking about billboards, like, hey, Ty, what do you get out of billboards? And my opinion for them is don't do it, because you couldn't get enough out there, because it's for branding, right? It's not marketing. Like their biggest thing was, I said, so what have you gotten traction on? She's like, well, we'll post some Facebook ads, right? And just spend $100 on some ads. And over the weekend or overnight, they get like 3 or 4 people signing up for a booth at the home show. And I was like, well, you don't really want to veer away from that, because you can actually measure that ROI.
Right.
But billboards, you can't do that. And there's no way you can negotiate. Like, I only need 27 billboards for 4 weeks. Right. Like you're just not going to have any leverage to be able to negotiate. And it's not enough time to brand it. So there's certain things that work for certain things for certain periods of time. And like we talked about, the millennials who's on devices nonstop is the largest generation of people that we've ever experienced. And that's who they want to target, because let's face it, that's who's buying homes today.
Right. Correct.
You know what I mean? So that's who they're trying to get to the home show. And that's what I was trying to explain to them. So if you want to target the older generation, Gen X's and beyond that, then do direct mail and newspaper. Right. Because they're still checking the mail. They're still leafing through the mail and looking at stuff like that and checking coupons. And in the newspaper, a lot of people think newspaper is dead, but let's think about who's getting the newspaper, right? Usually older people who have money.
Yeah.
Right. And not that this is about the money, but if you're trying to target and be strategic about it, then why wouldn't you want to do that? So I said about running some ads in the newspaper, or maybe a coupon, like get in for free, one free admin, buy one, whatever type of thing like that. So that was my suggestion. So I do know enough to be dangerous.
Yeah. No, I appreciate all of that. So I was listening to a podcast put on by Engage. It's a presentation software that we're partnered with, and Level 10 contractor Rich Harshaw has been in the business for SEO and marketing since the 90s. And I liked the aha moment out of that webinar. It was just 2 days ago. He brought up a 60-20-20 rule. 60% of marketing should be content written, right? Written content. That's really what helps drive SEO, right? Like you writing content, showing the world, whether that's on social media, your website as a blog, a mailer. Not a mailer is not going to help with your online presence, but you get my point. So 60% content writing, 20% is, he called it nerd code. So I think that's more the headers when you're doing a blog, making sure that the headers are header one nav, where you have keywords and stuff like that, blah, 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 all the coding stuff. And he said 20% should be getting ahead of the Google algorithm, the search engine algorithms. So I thought that was really cool. And it's funny because when he was saying that, I was like, man, I should chop that little piece up, which I probably will, and post it on social media, because our product, Project Map It, allows you to write little project descriptions.
Okay.
So on every project, you could write a project description, even if that's like 1 sentence or 5 sentences, putting backlinks to reputable companies like for you, GAF. Hey, if you're looking for, a great contractor, in the York, PA area, give TC Backer a call, click here. You can put links on our project descriptions. But over time, those little project descriptions, 6 months, 9 months down the road, I know we're probably in an area that's pretty saturated with other exterior remodeling companies, but over time, that written content will help play in your favor.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So if you just go in and write like a sentence or 5 sentences, where you would put the pictures,
yeah, correct. It's like a bunch of mini blogs. So think of it, instead of writing one blog and hiring an agency to spend $400 writing a long blog. Blogs are good, don't get me wrong, but those blogs are written intentionally, right? And so the reason why blogs are written is because it's written content. SEO, the search engines love 2 things. They love written content and they love updated, consistently written content. So if you write a blog once every 5 months, that's not going to do crap for you. If you get a Google review, right? Think Google reviews. Those Google reviews are written content about your company, written by your customer.
Yeah.
So Google reviews are like one of the number 1 things to help drive SEO.
I love that.
And getting them consistently, like for me, Project Map It, the last time I asked for a Google review was like 6 months ago. I'm not doing anything for my SEO.
Yeah.
Like I'm screwing myself up. But
right. And that's a good nugget for those people listening out here and about reviews, how important reviews are. Because I'll be honest with you, up until about 36 months ago, I refused to beg for reviews. Like, don't ask for reviews. I don't feel like I should have to ask you for a review. If we did that well of a job, I felt like automatically you would just put a review on there. Knowing what I know today, and I couldn't hear what anybody was telling me. I was like, no, we're not going to beg for fucking reviews. Like, that's just not how you do it. Because I see these companies that got 3,500 fucking reviews, and it's like, I know it's bullshit. Been in business 5 years, 3,500 reviews. We do 120 reviews a week.
Yeah.
Like, and we got 127 reviews. Like, what's real and what isn't real. But it is very important, like you said, for SEOs and things like that. And it is okay to ask to remind them, do you mind if we did a great job? If you're satisfied, do you mind leaving a review?
Yeah.
Let my boss know how well I did. My name is Jamie Bloom. And because Jamie Bloom, I brought his name up because I just saw one come across my desk, actually my desktop.
With Jamie on it.
Yeah, it said Jamie did a fantastic job, and that's not BS. Our reviews are our reviews. It's legit. That's why we don't have 3,500 or 500 or whatever.
Yeah, I've never really understood. I talk to contractors all the time, and I talk to a lot of contractors, and I'm looking at you too, Chris. Sorry, I don't mean to leave you out of this. I just got my eyes locked on Ty.
It's my
But
glasses.
it's the glasses. It's
You
the
can
glasses.
see
His
yourself
glasses
in
are
the
nicer
reflection.
than your glasses. But contractors tell me all the time, like, I don't need reviews. No, I mean, if you're saying you don't need reviews, then you don't really care about growing at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then some contractors are saying, I hear this as well. They say, oh, well, everything for me is word of mouth. Well, guess what? Online reviews are the new word of mouth. You just said it. Millennials are the ones that are getting new roofs. You do a lot of new construction. They're buying new homes.
Yeah.
That's who's tearing up the market now.
Oh yeah.
So reviews are very important. So
Right.
if I could tell anybody out there, you should be able to ask for reviews. You just kicked ass. Oh, my first cuss word on the show. I remember that there was a lot of cussing allowed to be on here.
It was beeped
But
out, by the way.
You just kicked ass putting this beautiful roof, this beautiful bathroom, whatever it is, on this. You should be able to ask for a review because just like you're so busy, you don't have time to do X, Y, and Z. A homeowner, they're busy too. They forget, but if you give them that little, hey, we're a small business. We'd really appreciate it. Reviews help businesses like mine grow. If you did a good job, of course, they're going to want to give you a review at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, a home improvement project, it's not a small investment, right? You're paying $5,000 to $20,000 to $100,000 if it's a commercial job.
Yeah.
So reviews are important. That's the only thing I'll say to everybody.
All good stuff. And you explain, because you hear people say reviews are important.
Yeah.
But no one actually explains why is it so important? Not just for visualization of when somebody searches you, but for the SEO purposes of it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and that's on the back end stuff. That's, takes a minute. That's a little engine back there that's got to get revved up for a while. It takes 6, 9, 12, 24 months for that SEO to get warmed up.
Yeah, but it will eventually get warmed up. And if you can get, literally that's why people that have hundreds of reviews are the ones that are probably dominating the market where they are.
Yeah, for sure. It is very important. It really is.
Yeah. And that's what Project Map It does, just so everybody understands. So if I can take a second, like, it's all about social proof now. It's, I watched your interview with Ryan Shantz, great guy over at Sumo Quote. Love him. I obviously Chris with Lead Scout and getting the leads and the stickies. I mean, it's just a no brainer to me, right? Like, you need to get the leads. And once you get the leads from Lead Scout or whatever source you use to grab leads, you need to be able to convert those leads. And the way you convert those leads is by standing out over your competition. That's what Ryan said on your Sumo Quote podcast.
Yes.
It's all about, like, if I have a great kick-ass proposal, well, that's going to look better than the contractor that sends a paper proposal, just says, here's the paper proposal. Yeah. It adds a layer of professionalism. I've noticed in my world, because my product allows you to put photos right on each of these pins, right? You click on a pin, it can open up and you can showcase as many of the after photos as you want, or before and after. Joe Ayler, he's just north Harford County, not too far from you guys. They're not a competitor of yours, I'm pretty sure. But Joe pioneered. I mean, he is the OG of drone photography. Drone photography helps you stand out. When you go to Joe's portfolio, his Project Map It portfolio, you click on any pin and there's an angle of the roof. Let's say the angle's taken this way, and then that's the before picture. And then when the job's done, he'll take that same exact angle of the after picture, and it's a remarkable difference. So really, it's just how to leverage some of these software tools like you're talking about to help you stand out over your competition. What Project Map It does is it's social proof. It's like, hey, look, we've done jobs. You click on a little cluster, little circle that says 155 on your TC Backer map, and it zooms in and shows like 100 pins around that area that you're literally doing a free estimate for, or maybe, I'm sure it's a free estimate, but you're doing a presentation for a homeowner. That right there alone, just showing those 100 pins are going to help close that deal.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. What do you think of all that, Chris? We lost you. There you are.
Sorry, guys. My kids were making a bunch of noise, so I put myself on mute. No, I love it. It's all good stuff. And someone early on in my time in this industry told me that we're really selling trust. A contractor in a home, the first thing they're trying to sell is trust. And I mean, it's like, you could take my word for it, or you could take all of these homes that I've done in your area's word for it. And I think it's just a great way to build trust. And ultimately that's what we're selling.
Yeah. and just to that point, I don't mind saying this, Project Map, it works hand in hand with Lead Scout, right? Like we're partners. We see the synergy. Chris's company, Lead Scout, Joe, they're able to, get the word out. I mean, you're already going to a presentation. You're already doing that. Why not have qualified leads that Lead Scout tells you, like, oh, by the way, these are the 20 homeowner occupied houses right next to the job that you're presenting to right now. Stick those sticky tabs in. Mm-hmm. Oh, and those sticky tabs might have a QR code of Blue Pages Pro with Chris Scoville. Maybe it's a QR code of Project Map It, right? Mm-hmm. They look at it. Oh crap! Look at all the jobs they've done in your area. Yeah. Other things like to kind of get in front of the homeowner. Engage is a great presentation software, and I was at a I don't know where, a show last year, and I watched them present. And one of the things they suggested, which I thought was really cool, was before you even go out, before your sales rep even goes out to that appointment, it can be an Engage presentation. It can just be a link or whatever processes you have as a contractor, but send something before they even go out. And that in that email or that presentation or whatever, have a video of that salesperson, right? And so the homeowner gets an email or a presentation link that says, hey, Ty's going to be out here. I know you don't sell anymore, but I'll just use me. Steve's going to be out at your house 2 p.m. on Thursday. In the meantime, take a look, get to meet Steve before he even shows up. And there's a video of Steve like, hey, my name is Steve Spence. I've been working at TC Backer for this many years. I have a wife and 2 kids. It humanizes that human being, that person, and that company before they even hit the door for that free estimate. Oh, and by the way, take a look at our portfolio of past work, Project Map It. Click on this link, and it drives traffic to where it lives on your website. So we'll get Project Map It on your website soon, Ty. Mm-hmm. And so before that salesperson even goes to the appointment, they have a video of the salesperson, so the homeowner gets to know them. They have social proof of your work through Project Map It and whatever other tools you might use.
I love that.
So before you the homeowners has vetted you before you even knock on the door.
Yeah. My only regret to this whole entire conversation. So John G or Murph introduced me to you probably right around that time from like 5 years.
Are we going to go here? We're going here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going there.
Okay.
That I'm kicking myself in the ass by not using this sooner.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with everything and the way that you explained it between the SEOs and the little mini blogs and showing visual aids to homeowners, because let's face it, I like to see pictures.
Yeah.
When I go on somebody's website, man, I click on those photos, man, and I'm scrolling and to be able to get in there, especially with drones, right? Like there's so many cool tools today. Yeah. Like really the sky's the limit, but choosing the right tools that match that work to make it streamless. And it sounds like you've really done that for the contractor and the homeowner. Right. Let's face it, that there's value there. So speaking of which, so when we were out in Utah at door to door, I had a question for everybody, and I'm not going to ask you that question because I figured you probably prepped yourself
to do research.
Yeah. So I wanted to stump you, and Chris, I want to stump you too.
Good. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So what is the difference between worth and price?
What is the difference between worth and price? Well, price doesn't matter if you're going to put on the best, in your scenario, shingle. You're going to have the best salespeople out there that are literally going to hold your hand and communicate with you the right way from the time they go to that set appointment to the time they collect that invoice. Right. So there are a lot of companies out there that I know undersell and stuff, but they also underdeliver. So TC Backer is worth a lot more, right, than the price. Your price point might be a little higher.
Yeah.
But what that homeowner is going to get is well worth it, because they're going to get a company that cares about them. They're going to get a company that's like their family, right? Like that's Project Map It. When I sell to a new customer, that customer is a family of ours.
Yeah.
And they know they can text me on the weekend. They can do whatever they need.
Yeah.
So, my price point actually is really low.
Yeah.
But we're worth a lot.
Right.
Like as far as that goes. Chris, what about you?
Yeah, Chris.
That's going to be hard to follow up. I mean, it's almost like kind of playing mind games with me, because it seems like so easy, but I think it's deeper than I initially thought when you asked the question.
It is deep.
I mean, I think
Not
price is
the elevator incident.
right,
But-
which we'll talk about at the next episode. No, I mean, I think price is just a number for a bill of goods. It's kind of like, and even a bill of goods, it's, I guess that's up to definition, but worth is really, I guess, everything that, I mean, it's almost like the lifetime value. Like we talk about lifetime value of a customer, right? In terms of, they buy a roof for 12,000, 20,000, whatever, like seeing them as more than just one roof. I mean, the average homeowner moves every 5 to 7 years. So their lifetime value could be more. So we really have to take care of them. And so I think it could actually go the other way, that, your lifetime value to them could be so much more. And so the worth of TC Backer, that them choosing you over the other guys, is because of the worth you have beyond just the installation of a roof. The fact, like you said, Stephen, like the fact that you'll always be there. And I think, I don't know, that's kind of what's coming to my mind.
Yeah.
That's a good question. It's a great question.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't even know. I just had that come to me today because it's like, so as an example, like, for Christmas, right? Like you go Christmas shopping and things are expensive, right? But is it worth making your family happy? Right? Isn't it worth making your family safe? Right? By putting a lifetime roof on your home. Who really cares about the price when it's really worth their happiness, their safety? And it goes into like price versus cost. Like, yeah, I know it might be expensive, but if you go with this other guy, what's it going to cost you later?
Yeah.
What is it actually going to cost you?
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, what's the worth? What's it worth to you to keep your home happy and safe, right? And comfortable, right? Whether it be windows or solar or whatever. Same with you. Your worth, what is your worth?
Right.
Really, I guess, not just your worth, but what is it worth?
Yeah.
What is it worth for happiness, peace of mind, consistency, all of those things that we're in search of, like that comfortability.
Yeah.
Is it worth that comfortability of knowing that if something would happen to go wrong and I needed to text you over the weekend, it's worth that?
Correct.
It's totally worth that. So that's kind of what I was thinking about today. Like if I went Christmas shopping and I knew she wanted that, man, and it's like, damn it, I had to work 80 hours. Dude, it is so worth putting a smile on her face.
Yeah.
Right. So price doesn't even matter at that point in time. Right.
Yeah.
So you got to not sell your worth, but it's not even about value,
Right.
like selling value, right? Like what's the worth? What worth are you generating?
I like that.
So that's kind of where I
like
came up with that today. So
Good question.
I really wanted to ask you that, but do you want to answer the question that we were asking everybody this weekend too? Because I thought that was a pretty good one. Not quite as deep as that.
Is that the sales question?
Yeah. The sales question.
Well, I kind of cheated because I heard the answer
Yeah,
that you thought.
then I don't want you to
and
do
to be
that.
honest with you, just to toot my own
I
horn.
figured
to
you
toot-
probably practiced
toot-
this for the
No,
2 hours on the way up the road.
I didn't.
Don't
But
lie.
to toot my horn, I answered.
You were a school teacher.
I
Dude.
answered
know
the
for a
question
fact that you were prepared.
correctly.
Okay.
I think I answered the question correctly before I heard the one gentleman say it sort of wrong or didn't really know how to answer it.
Yeah.
I knew the answer.
Did you?
I felt, well, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think it depends on the person that's thinking up the answer. But I think you and I shared the same commonality as far as that question goes.
Right on. It is a good question.
It's a good question.
We're going to have to come up with a really good question for SRC next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's a
think
good-
it's something
good
we're going
call.
to start doing is like coming up with like this question.
Yeah.
Chris Baker, who is one of the co-founders, co-host of the show right now.
Oh, I know.
He
I watched all the episodes.
Yeah, he always asks at the end of the show, like what drives you, what gets you out of bed and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, well, we needed a question.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not that I don't want to know that from you or Hofstra, which I've probably heard a couple times from him, which is always good. And sometimes that might change. Sometimes that might evolve and sometimes things may be added to that. So it's always worth listening to what drives people today and stuff like that. But today I'm grateful that you came up to actually, because not a lot of people get to experience the actual studio. That's why we got in mind. It's like, hey, let's take it to them.
Yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
a good idea.
So let's take it to them so they can see the checkered floor and they can see all the studio cameras, the lights, the bells, and the whistles and things like that. Now, these walls actually came from our home show setup that we just decided, you know what, let's just keep them in here instead of breaking them down. And this wall was in here. And then we were going to start in this area here, what's called the Smash Lab. Like we were going to do testing, our own testing,
Gotcha.
like shoot arrows through windows and, you know, hurricane proof windows. Like, let's see if we could break this thing. We haven't gotten that far yet, but anyhow,
call me when you do. I'm only 2 hours away.
yeah. So we're still, it's called Smash Lab.
Okay.
So, we are going to do that at some point in time. So what else do you guys want to talk about? I mean,
I want to say something. I've been kind of quiet. I want to say something about, I think it kind of ties a little bit to the worth thing, Ty, but also just to plug what you're doing, Stephen, at Project Map It. And I'm going to share this from someone else who's trying to build software, right? And one of the challenges when you are presenting a tool to a customer base is the ability for them to adopt it and see the value in a short amount of time, and then not have, I mean, ideally, like not have the type of, not have a lot of energy that goes into adopting that. And I think what's unique about Project Map It, that in many ways is unfortunately not the case with Lead Scout, is that from a worth standpoint, like I don't know why how it's not worth it. I mean, I've seen your pricing, Stephen, like for someone to adopt your tool, it doesn't take them like really any effort. And what they get, like the worth of being able to show their local business, be able to show the local community, the local marketplace, where they've been, and having a place for those reviews, another place for those reviews, pictures. I mean, everybody's got pictures now. I mean, this information's there. And from what I've heard from you in terms of like, you know, you onboarding Ty, and I think it is funny, Ty, that you say like, I don't know why it took so long, because it didn't, once you said, give it the green light, it just happened. Did it not? Like, it just happens. Like, yeah, Stephen and your team you just made it happen. So for TC Backer Construction, other than the small fee that Stephen charges you a month or a year, like the value, like it's a must have. Mm-hmm. Lead Scout's a must have too. I mean, selfishly, it's a must have, but there's some commitments that the contractor has to make in order to start to see that value. And, you know, those that are willing to make the commitment, I mean, Ty, your team has made the commitment and you reap those benefits. Mm-hmm. But like a tool like Project Map It and other tools, like, I mean, you gave a shout out to Blue Pages Pro. I mean, you sign up for that, it's just like, bang, you got a high converting landing page. Mm-hmm. You have tools like, Roofle, where it's like you drop the instant quote on your website, bang, what do they call that when people spend time on your website? Goes from 6 seconds to 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to do anything. You just took some technology and you put it in the same stream, the same flow that you're already doing.
You make it engaging, right? If you have a website that's engaging that people are going to mess around with, the estimator tool from Roofle or the estimator tool from Roofer, whoever.
Yes.
Name the software company or put Project Map It on there and people start plugging around on the map. The longer they're on and engaging into those softwares or your website in general is going to help with SEO for sure.
It's one more reason for them to not leave.
Correct.
And it doesn't require TC Backer to spend any more time. You already have the website, Ty, right? So you just drop that right on. You already have all that information. They poured it all in, bang. So and
you know, Chris, I appreciate everything you're saying. And to be honest with you, there are some of our customers, Ty and Chris, that they'll literally build out, you know, they might have, let's just say, call it 1,500 pins on their map, and they'll get their team in the off season, like we are kind of now in certain parts of the US. They'll just load up 500 projects with pictures. They'll sync their 100 to 200 or however many Google reviews. So they'll have a kick-ass, I've said kick-ass too much. They'll have a great fucking, I got to cuss.
There you go.
They'll have a great fucking portfolio.
That was beeped out, by the way.
Damn it. they'll have a great portfolio that really, if they didn't want to, they could never have to touch it again. They don't have to constantly put in pins. They've already built out a great portfolio. It's done. I've got 500.
Right.
I don't need to keep upgrading it or updating it. It's done.
Yeah, the homeowner's not going to go, I think there's some pins over there that they're missing.
Yeah.
Correct.
No. And, going back to the cost and versus price, what sucks is like the affordable price that it is. I'm wondering how much it has cost me by not doing it sooner.
A lot. But
that's worth.
But that's
right.
worth. But to your credit, and I'll have your back a little bit. It was like 2 years ago, everybody that's watching this, that Ty basically shrugged me off. He was like, yeah, I could give two shits about your product, Steve. Even John Grzinski and John Murphy saying it, Ty, you need this. He still said, screw you, Steve. And I think he used those exact words too, Chris.
I might have.
But to your credit, 2 years ago, our software was not where it was now. The beautiful thing about software, and you know this, right? Because you're updating your software right now, probably, Mr. Hofstra, but essentially we didn't have the SEO piece in play. It was a grayscaled map when I was asking, it didn't really look sexy. There was no branding. Just so everybody knows, we can brand the map to make it look literally like it's your software. We'll slap your logo on it. We'll change the colors to match your brand. It'll look great on your website. It'll look great on a presentation. It'll look good in proposals. We are integrated with like Roofer and Sumo Quote, so it looks good in their proposals.
Yeah.
So it wasn't sexy. Our system wasn't sexy when you turned me away 2 years ago. It's sexy now. And
when did you integrate with Roofer on their proposals? Because that's pretty badass.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good partnerships. You being one of them. Blue Pages Pro, Roofer was, I want to say September, October, November. Sumo Quote was right around that time as well. But that's how people use this, right? It's like, hey, put it in your sales presentation to close deals. Social proof. It's all about social proof. Add it to your proposals. So here's your good, better, and best deal. And by the way, this is why you should choose us. Take a look at our portfolio. And then people add it to their website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kudos to you for that. I mean, going back to your early
it was tough
story here, and kudos to you for grinding through and no wonder, because, you got to do a lot in a little span of time. And well, a lot of people do, but they don't see the results.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm sure at some point in time, you're probably like, I'm tired of smashing my head against the wall. What am I going to do? I had this great salary job.
Correct.
And, I basically cut my salary in half. Right. But you ground it through, man. And it's like, that's a certain breed of person that didn't give up. And then all of a sudden, like you said, 2 years ago, right, it just wasn't where you wanted it to be, but you probably didn't even know where it should be.
Right. And
then all of a sudden things just started to click. And then you start these partnerships, right? You're networking.
Yeah.
That people are starting to notice you, Sumo Quote, Roofer. And that says a lot about how good your product is.
Yeah.
Because they're not just going to sign up and partner up with people. Because let's face it, Sumo Quote's been around for a while. They've kind of worked out those earlier bugs.
Certainty's a multi-billion-dollar company.
Right. Certainty, USLBM, John Murphy and Rosinski, though, they must have saw something in you that you probably didn't even see in yourself. Then.
Well, here's the thing. I've again, he's making fun of me a little bit, which is true. I've been watching a lot of your shows over the last week, knowing that I was going to be up here.
Cheater.
Well, no, it's just, I'm passionate what I do. I wanted to make sure I protect myself well. I mean, I think that's what any good leader would do, right? Yes. It's what you would do. But I heard a bunch of people on your podcast say and you use the word networking, and people don't. I am a believer in this, and I, as my therapist says, I need to start feeling better about myself. So, like, I will say that it's the people you surround yourself with, and if you're a good person, good people will want to be with you, right? And so, I feel like I've been good. I feel like another, I think, big leadership trait is to be a lifelong learner and to show your employees you're willing to be a learner. I'm willing to grow, evolve, all of that stuff. And when people in bigger companies like Roofer, like, Sumo Quote, all the ones we've talked about, they're not buying, or they're not partnering with Project Map It. They're partnering with the person behind Project Map It.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's why TC Backer is really good. It's why Lead Scout is really good. It's why all these companies that we're mentioning are really good.
It's the who.
It's
Stephen, that was gold. And I gotta jump on that, because I'm not here, and Joe and Matt, our other partner, Nobody really gets to see Matt, but he's in the background literally writing all this code. So, I mean, he basically gets all the credit. So shout out to Matt Rosema. But for Joe and I, we get to, be the face and take credit and be given these opportunities. And it literally is because of the people that you just mentioned. And I think, to take a little play out of your book there, Stephen, part of it is because we've taken the posture of wanting to first serve others. I mean, I've made a ton of mistakes, right? We've made a ton of mistakes at Lead Scout, but one of the things that we've consistently done a good job at is we lose sleep over our customers' business before our own business, and almost to our own detriment. And I think of guys like John Grzinski and John Murphy and Mike Zimbrisky and Tom Horan when he was at GAF and now he's at SRS. And I know I'm leaving people out. Clint Klepp with Richard Building Supply. All of these people that have literally given us life and put us in a position where we can succeed. Ty Backer, you're one of those people. And I think it started because we served them. And we set out to say, okay, John G., how can we make your TMs, your salespeople, how can we add value to when they're asking to go into a contractor's office? What can we do to add to the value they bring to a contractor, knowing full well that if we can achieve that goal, whether they sign up for our tool or not. I mean, I always say, like, who gives a shit if they sign up for Lead Scout? I want you to walk in with it from a consultative, educational standpoint, help the contractor learn something, do something better. If they sign up for Lead Scout, cool. But if they don't, like, we've served our purpose. And if we can serve you in that way, then you will. And they've literally opened doors from us from day one. We hardly did any marketing, and it was literally GAF reps and Universal reps and all of these guys just plugging us because they felt like we were out there to take care of them. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, that was gold, Stephen. I mean,
our doors, Chris, were literally closing. The owner at the time of Project Map said, "We're not making enough money. We need to close this shit down." And I was like, "We do not need to close this shit down. Number one, to be a great salesperson, you need to believe in your audience. You need to believe in your product."
Yes.
I'm a firm believer in our product. Proud of our product. We listen to our customers. We evolve with what our customers are asking. But John G., literally, when we were about to shut down, John calls me. "Hey, I was at GAF. Now I'm here at USLBM. I remember you at GAF. We want to bring you on." John G. literally kept our doors open. And then you mentioned Murph. I'll give John Murphy a huge shout out because John Murphy was in charge of Universal Supply Company at the time, has since grown in that position to USLBM. But John Murphy literally told his outside sales reps, "Hey, you need to have Steve drive up to New Jersey and you need to get Steve 5 face-to-face appointments." And literally John Murphy in the course of 2 months told the OSRs, the outside sales reps, "You need to promote Steve." And they did. And that John Murphy literally brought in enough cash flow that I made, instead of $3,000 a month, to like $4,500 a month. And I was like, "Hey, look at me. I'm going to make like over $48,000 this year." Thank you, John Murphy. So yeah, kudos to those guys for sure.
Yeah.
And I'll do the same shout out because of our partnership and networking. So through the partnerships, we've been able to network with some of their partners as well. And they have been a phenomenal partner for us. Like, where they go, we go.
Yeah.
Like, we opened up an office down in Delmarva, literally right next to them. Like, we share parking lots. Awesome. They have just been, I don't want to get into too much detail, but we wouldn't probably be where we're at because of John G. and Murph, because of the relationship and the partnerships and the relationships that they've introduced us to. Many, like, if they've helped us expand our footprint, and that's the thing. So let's go back to not forgetting where you come from, bum. Right. So there's this guy that we've done work for over 15 years. And randomly, I just send him a thank you text message. Right. Because of him, right? Because we wouldn't be where we're at today. Plus, of the relationships, the people that he's introduced us to. And I think a lot of people don't even realize, like, I think too many people, they can't see this much further than this thing right there.
Yeah.
Right. I did this.
Yeah.
I did this. Right. They don't look back to the relationships that we've built with national builders. You know, a field superintendent goes to work someplace else. They took us with them. You know, that mushrooming ripple effect of we talked about it all the time, and it's like on the forefront of my mind that today's currency is our partnerships and our networking that we have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's so important to make sure now more than ever is to make sure that those partnerships are tight, like to check in, just to make a call. Hey, how are you doing? Let's not get too complacent. Let's not get too comfortable ever.
Right.
Like, stick to the basics. You don't ever have to go back to them. That appreciation that you showed for them then needs to continue year after year after decade.
Yeah, I like that.
Right. Like it
that.
just has to be.
Well, I mean, even, you know, all of our partners have introduced me to other partners that are currently mine. Pete McKendrick introduced me to Chris Hill over at SRS. You know, like Chris Scoville has introduced me to Lead Scout, you know, or reintroduced me to Lead Scout. So everybody kind of helps out.
Yeah,
right?
man.
And we're a small company. You know, we have about 350 maps, maybe a little more at this point. This is going to be a big year for us because of our great partnerships. But, you know, for me to be able to go into another partner, a potential partner that could help bring us in leads or whatever, for me to be able to say, yeah, we're partnered with X, Y, and Z, it makes us look like, and we are reputable. I don't want to, but it just makes us look even more reputable. Oh, you're with Roofers Coffee Shop, right? They're a huge marketing agency over that does a ton for the roofing world. So anyway, no, I like what you all are saying. I love it.
Me too.
I love this conversation.
Me too.
And Ty, this is just a reason why you need to keep doing Behind the Tool Belt. And we need, you know, we want to keep supporting you. Obviously, you're supporting us way more than we're supporting you. Talk about worth. But, you know, I just think about how many people I've been able to meet and people that have been able to meet me because of people like you who create this content and create a platform where people can learn and share. You know, Pete McKendrick doing a podcast is how I met one of our largest customers that have literally been a buoy for us over the last 2 years.
Awesome.
You know, and I never would have met Peter at Stephen Construction out in Seattle if it hadn't been for Pete McKendrick at Roofer doing a podcast and giving me an opportunity to share a little bit about what we're doing, just the same way you're sharing, you know, about Project Map. And I hope there's a Peter at Staybuilt somewhere. By the way, Peter, if you're listening, or you need to call him, Stephen, it'd be a great tool for Peter. But I hope somebody like that, because they saw this, right? Because Behind the Tool Belt, because of Vic and Javi and Chris Baker and all the people that make this happen, that people can meet Stephen Spence, hear a story, understand what he's building. Because we're all busy and like, I heard about that one time. But until you get to have a chance to listen to, even if it's just, I mean, we've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes now, but even if it's 15 minutes, and then you can kind of get an idea of like, okay, this is a cool guy. That's a really cool product. I need to look into that. You do a demo and bang, that's a customer for life, and you've changed their business and they can change yours. So I love what we're doing here. Thanks for having me on all the time, Ty.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm going to sneak on every Wednesday. I'm going to come up here and just kind of hang out. And I'm just going to, I'm going to do one of these things. Hi, how's everybody doing? I'm just showing up. I got the address. I'm just showing up here at 6:30 every freaking Wednesday.
Do it. That's fine. And we'll see you next Wednesday.
Yeah, we will be. We'll be together at
SRC.
Yeah, man. It's
I love it when a Wednesday falls on, you know, an expo or a conference or something like that. They're my favorite. Like, I'm so jacked up that I can't even stand myself. And half the time I don't even know what the hell I'm saying. Like, I got to watch it on the playback. Like, I don't remember saying that.
I can't believe we've been on for an hour and 20 minutes.
Like, I go into like this blackout because of like the energy, like it's just the roofing industry and where it's at right now and where it's going because of people like you and people like Chris and Joe Salowitz and Vic and Javi and my nephew, Zach McAllister. Like, we're changing shit. Like, we're going to leave this better than where we found it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, our legacy, you know, we're the pioneers.
Yeah.
Like really, I feel like we're rewriting the script. We're remaking the rules that this bad stigma that the roofing industry had is like going away. It's
Yeah.
like it's going away
Mhm.
because you said it earlier. It's like they're not hiring Project Map It. They're hiring Stephen Spence, right? It's the person. They're hiring Chris Hofstra
Or
and Chris,
Perla.
right? We've talked about this. It's like it's not what is Project Map It. It's
Right.
who,
Who is? Yeah,
Mhm.
I do agree with that statement.
Who is-
100%.
right? Because John Rosinski and the boys, they hired you,
Yeah.
Stephen Spence, right? I hired Chris
Mm-hmm.
Hofstra because of his great hairdo.
He's so good looking, man.
He
You really
is.
drive me crazy, Chris.
I'm
I hate
serious.
you.
Just for men.
I'd say I'm going to get my haircut looking like that, but the reason I'm wearing the hat is because I'm like losing hair. So, or it looks like are we getting shut off soon?
No,
Can I ask
Yeah.
a question?
go for it.
That what's everybody's like number one? What's your number one important? What's your top trait or whatever to be a leader in your company? Like what do you hold as your main core value on how you lead your company?
Me or Chris?
All of us. I'll include what I feel.
Okay. Do you want me to start?
It's your show.
Well, it's funny you say it because there's
There are a lot.
There's a couple things,
There are.
right?
You
But
can
the
say-
first thing that popped in my head, and this is something that I never had before up until I don't know how many years ago. Empathy.
Yeah.
Empathy is huge. Like really giving a shit,
Mhm.
About what's going on at home with them. Are they struggling? Is someone sick? But just empathy in general, right? So like not that we care about like what time people come to work, right? So we had a business meeting, and not to hold this thing hostage, right? But Sam, who is our AP girl, she's phenomenal. I've known this girl. She's like my daughter, right? She's my daughter's best friend. And she's pregnant right now, which is crazy because people are actually thinking they can trust me enough to have a family.
Yeah.
Right. Not just buy a house or a car. They're having fucking babies. Right. This gets me choked up a little bit. But I said to her, she was late the other morning. And I said, Sam, did you feel anxiety when you were late? And she was like, yeah. I said, was it because you thought that you were going to get in trouble? And she was like, no. And I said, why? She goes, because I felt like I left my team down.
Let you down. I knew you were going to say that.
Not
Awesome.
yeah, me
The team.
or the team, right?
That's awesome.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
If you can create that type of culture where, they're harder on themselves than I could ever be.
Yeah.
Right. That's the shit right there.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. So
Chris?
your turn.
I should have gone first. That was good.
Well, I mean, seriously, let's just break out the elevator story.
No.
Okay.
No. So
Really
I'm
not.
I'm a 2 on the I'm a 2 on the Enneagram. So what's interesting is I'll give maybe an unlikely answer to this. So a 2 on the Enneagram is a helper. And so obviously there's naturally like good traits to that, but there's some really like dark sides to being a helper. And the dark side is like, you're so obsessed with helping other people, but then there's like this like subtle expectation that other people are going to have your back too and help you too. And if they don't, you start to resent and become embittered towards them. So I think for me, I'm trying to figure out how I can best harness that quality about myself, like that desire to serve and help others and essentially put them ahead of me, but in a healthy way that is like truly genuine and where I can derive my help from somebody else outside of the company. And for me, that would be my faith. And how can I, as you say, Ty, like draw my help from a higher power? Like I know where my help comes from and that I can help and serve my team and my partners in a way that doesn't expect something in return down the road. And so I guess for me, I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to figure out how I can use that as a leader.
I like it.
That's a great, honest answer. Thank
So-
you for sharing that.
Yeah, I do like that. And it made me like the first thing when you said that, being a helper, I've always been a people pleaser. Stems from like my youth growing up and shit that went down. Nothing bad, but sometimes when you're a people pleaser, for me, in my scenario, I would put others ahead of like my children or my wife. Like I'd rather please these people over here than make sure that my family was, that I had my family's back. I've since changed that. But I that's the first thing when you said there's some dark sides to being a helper.
Mhm.
Like you have to be able to rein that in and know that, yeah, I'm going to be a helper, but my number one thing in my core is like my family now. And it wasn't always that way. You know, it's become that way. But I loved your answer.
Yeah.
And then my answer is very similar to yours, Ty. I just take it one step maybe beyond, and that's just emotional intelligence. I don't know. I'm sure you guys have heard of that. I've, my mastermind group just read a book last year on emotional intelligence and just the ability to get the most out of your employees because you are aware of the surroundings, you're aware of the personality, the different personalities, right? Like, I'm a coach, like I coach 8th grade boys. 7th and 8th grade boys are the worst kids ever to be a coach of, because you have some kids that have hair under their arms and they've gone through puberty 2 years ago. And then you got kids that aren't, and they're all bickering and it's the worst thing ever. So if you're going to ever coach, if you're ever going to coach, Zach, don't do it if they're in 8th grade or 7th grade. But point being, emotional intelligence, I think, is my core competency as far as me leading.
Mhm.
And again, I don't have to lead a ton of people, but I do interact with a ton of people. So someone with a high emotional intelligence is going to do, I think, a better job networking and building and stuff like that. So empathy is a huge part of that.
Yeah.
Right?
For real.
Yep.
Yeah. Being in
Yeah.
touch with other people's
Correct.
feelings and being able to read
Yep.
them. Yeah. No, I like that. I like that. Great question. Great answer.
Good show.
Yeah, it was. It was a good show. I can't wait to see some of the clips that we get from it. And with Javi's expertise back there and the way that he was controlling the cameras and stuff like that. So once we get those things split up a little bit, we'll share them with you so you can
Sweet.
put them on your platforms
Love
and
it.
stuff like that. But a lot of really good stuff tonight. There wasn't too much grab assy going on. I'm saving myself.
Yeah.
Pacing myself for next week because I'll probably be off the chain. 12 Red Bulls a day, just jacked up, zero sleep, half wired, half tired. And I'm looking really forward to that. I can't wait to get back to seeing those people in that world that we live in. Sometimes when we go out there on the road, it's kind of like when I get back here, I'm kind of decombobulated, like I'm ready to go back.
Yeah.
That's where, not that I don't have friends and loved ones here and I miss my loved ones, but that there's something that's a different something going on out there that I really enjoy. But anyhow,
Yes, sir.
not to continue to take the show hostage. You guys are the greatest. Stephen, let's stay in touch, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
Absolutely.
on a
I'll
weekly.
see you Sunday.
Yeah, like on a weekly thing.
Okay.
Here, Chris and I have developed a great relationship. I don't think there's a day that's gone by over the past 3 months that we haven't really spoke.
Awesome.
They've
Every day.
flown over here to see me and just emotionally supported each other. Whatever, man. But you
Two
guys,
good people. Two
yeah,
very good people.
I'm digging this relationship here. So anyhow, man, what another great episode. We will see you guys for episode 162 from Dallas Fort Worth, I guess. Denton,
Texas.
Texas.
Denton,
Yep.
Texas. Hopefully it'll be 50 couple degrees or higher down there. Hopefully we get good weather. And then in 2 weeks, we will be roofing process
In Orlando, Florida.
in Orlando, Florida. So can't wait to get back to that. And because I miss Florida. I really like Florida. I don't care where at in Florida. Just take me to Florida. Time of
Fair
year.
enough.
I was telling that to Jan. I was hoping that would entice her to want to come with me, but she's like, I can't. But anyhow, I love you guys. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you guys for tuning in. I see you guys out there. I see Tom Golden. I see Tyler. I see Dan Barker. The list goes on. John Stauffer. thank you guys for tuning in. Oscar, good to see you. Mike Ippy, my man. Hashtag
Ippy.
Hofstra stash.
I know.
That's never been used before. I looked it up.
I'm growing out the Fu Manchu, Chris, just so you know. It's
Yeah.
coming out.
Good.
Corona, love you, girl. Thank you. Proud of you too. Lead Scout, I see that. Lead Scout in there, only slightly damaged. Okay. Good stuff. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Episode 162, Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Let's get it. Up in the right corner.
Behind the Tool Belt is sponsored by Lead Scout. Find out more at leadscoutapp.com.
Ty, are you there?